Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We are live from San Francisco at AWS Summit. I'm Suman Devnath, a principal developer advocate with Amazon EFS team, and I'm joined by
Me, AM. I'm AM Grabelny. I just magically transported right back from my house to this desk. It's very
nice.
tiring. Solution architect here at AWS. Just general mischief maker, I think too, is a little subtitle there. But please, from the DevOps Guru side, introduce yourselves.
Hey everyone, my name is Jonathan Vogel, and I'm a developer advocate at AWS.
Hi everyone, I'm a senior specialist solution architect in DevOps.
Excellent. Welcome to the show. So today we are going to talk about Amazon DevOps Guru. So before we get started, why don't you give a brief about what Amazon DevOps Guru is about?
Before we start, should we talk about some challenges in IT operations, David?
Yeah, what's the context in which I would look to DevOps Guru to solve problems that I might have?
So I can relate as a former SRE when I was working in operations, always having to update metrics, update different thresholds with alarms, and then the developers releasing new features, and then
Your favorite day, right?
well, then at that point you have gaps in coverage, so then you have to create more alarms and more dashboards, or what if you create too many and then you're just getting completely overwhelmed with the amount of pages that you're getting? So with DevOps Guru, you're really kind of solving a bunch of those issues because you're being covered by the service itself, and that machine learning is going to be able to then capture any sort of anomalies that are in your operations, across your operation stacks.
Right, and I'm hearing more and more from people, it can feel like a 24/7 job. As operations people, you want to have high availability in your applications, you want to increase your operational excellence, and then for our developers out there, you may have been the person that built this tool, and if something goes wrong, you're ultimately the one to have to fix it.
Yeah, and I like to sleep as a former developer too, and sometimes that
Yeah.
interferes with your sleep, right?
Right.
On-call rotations, unexpected outages, all these things.
Especially in the weekends.
Totally, and time to response, right? Like that's a big issue for a lot of teams. So we've built DevOps Guru. That's not what launched today. Maybe we'll want to talk a little bit about what specifically launched today for DevOps Guru.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
DevOps Guru has been out for a little over a year. Jonathan, you want to talk about what we actually launched today?
Yeah, today we're launching AI Ops solutions for serverless applications using Amazon DevOps Guru.
All right, and I hear AI in there. So what does that? That means it's probably going to do some predictive work on my behalf, and
Yes.
what do I get out of it?
Yeah,
if
so
I turn
we've
it on?
had customers speak to our reactive insights to let them know about potential outages or reacting to existing outages. And we've gotten that feedback that we're investing more and more in proactive insights. That way we can proactively let customers know before there actually is a potential outage in their applications.
So we talked about downtime with reactive, but what about if you actually know before it even happens, before you actually go down? And that's what the value of the proactive insights brings today.
Yeah, excellent. I think we have been talking about proactive measures that it can take. So can you just tell us how it works? And I'm sure that you have some demo to show us. So why don't you go ahead and show us all in action? Yeah.
For sure. I'd love to share some of these new proactive insights.
Absolutely.
So to start, I'll paint up a story before we actually get into the console. So we got Mother's Day coming up. Imagine that.
Oh
you have
no!
an
Wait, how far away are we?
getting close.
Okay,
So
great.
imagine you're in
Hi, Mom.
e-commerce business and you have customers reaching out to purchase items for Mother's Day. And you've had instances in the past where traffic is increasing, and because you're fully serverless and your checkout is backed by Lambda, you've provisioned additional concurrency using Lambda provision concurrency. And that way you have these warm Lambdas available just in case
Right.
you have this spike in traffic.
You're anticipating that, right?
Right,
So
because you don't want to have high latency experience for your customers. You want them to have a seamless
Right.
checkout, right? So with that, we find that these proactive insights are able to let you know that in this case, you're starting to kind of push up on that threshold of spilling your provision concurrency, and you should consider increasing that limit.
Yeah, and maybe we've said proactive and reactive a couple times. Do you want to maybe give a little bit more context of some examples of what would be proactive versus reactive in terms of a team operating with DevOps or SREs?
Yeah, so Jonathan will go into the proactive demo as far as like a reactive use case. Let's say you have an RDS instance, and in that particular instance, you have your average active connection spike to the point where it's completely throttling or hammering the database. But the awesome thing is, and I mentioned the RDS piece, the Guru engineers partnered with the Performance Insights engineers, and you don't have to be a DBA to actually understand the insights that we're providing, because in that insight, it actually has the recommendations as well as the different metrics that it's being affected. So that would be more reactionary versus that proactive before you're down. This point, you're already experiencing that pain point.
It's happening.
Correct.
Right now.
And at that point, you're like, oh no, what do I do?
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to be a DBA. You're going to take a look at that single pane of glass and actually see what's going on. And we have recommendations. As I said before, it's super easy to understand, but it'll even show you like the query that's actually causing the issue, as well as with the average active connections, how that kind of corresponds with each other.
Yeah. So honestly, with proactive, you're able to take appropriate steps without this panic setting in of our site's down, we're losing money. What do we do? How do we get this back up? And maybe not in the best way, just
and that's one of the key things with, I think, for myself with DevOps Guru is just reducing that mean time to resolution, getting that insight in that single pane of glass, and just it painting the picture to where you can actually see what's going on. So you're not having to look across multiple observability, services or platforms in order to actually see what's going on.
Yeah, that's another huge, I don't want to call it sprawl, but we're starting to measure a lot more things than we did in the past, and it's hard to prioritize when you're measuring everything, right?
Especially with the apps, and then we're seeing more shift towards microservices-based architecture, compounding more metrics, more logs. I'm glad you mentioned the RDS example because it's not just about high availability and operational excellence. For that use case, you have Performance Insights helping you optimize the performance of your database.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Awesome.
So why don't we get started with some demo?
I think people are eager to see see the demo. So this is the DevOps Guru landing page. And if we go over here to our dashboard,
we're having some technical difficulties in our demo. That never happens.
Never, ever. I've never witnessed this.
So we had a hardwired connection, which looks like it's not working. So I have rejoined with Wi-Fi, and it looks like we're back up. Awesome.
There we go.
So we can see here we have our Amazon DevOps Guru dashboard, your fully managed AIOps solution. And in this case, we're assessing some of these CloudFormation stacks. And from the Insights page, we can navigate there. As David mentioned, we have these reactives, but also there's the proactive tab where we can assess what's going on with some of these proactive insights.
Let's dive in.
So if we take a look at one of these, we can click on it, and it brings you to the Insight page. And here we see that DevOps Guru has been able to aggregate this particular metric, which is our provision concurrency spillover. As I mentioned, the folks are coming to that site, and you're breaching that threshold. And if that sustains, you could have a terrible customer experience in regards to checking out all the items you need for Mother's Day. So as we scroll down here, we can see the aggregated metric, and it's showing you every minute here, we're seeing the sustained spillover.
That's me panicking, going to try and check out to buy a Mother's Day gift that I totally bought weeks ago. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, great. So we're getting these insights. What's next?
Yeah, that's cool to see, but what do we need to do next, right? So you could either scroll down, but I'll show you how easy it is just from the top. You can click on View Recommendations, and it takes you right down to our relevant events, which showing our enrichment data, in this case, our deployment history, and then our recommendation summary. And it's very convenient. It's showing you a link right to the documentation. You could click on this link and bring up the document that prescribes what you could do to fix it.
So
Yeah.
this is where the machine learning comes into picture, right? It's recommending automatically under the hood,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, this solution is powered by years of operational excellence at AWS and Amazon.com, and using those pre-trained models is ingesting operational data to be able to come up with these types of insights.
Before you move on, I do want to point out, so we talked about the insight itself and it has the recommendation as well as the metrics. We're also pulling in relevant enrichment data, which you can see here in the middle of the screen. So if you're using CloudFormation to do any deployments, you can actually relay that back. Like, did my deploy actually cause an issue? And you can see how that actually interacted with the issue itself on the event timeline.
Oh wow! So it's even like when you're rolling out deployments, a good thing to go and check in on how that deployment
Yeah.
is actually going, right?
Right.
Without having to set up necessarily like your canary, and like you might have all
Test
that already up,
environments, yeah.
but this is giving you more insight into what's going on.
Just painting that
Right.
overall picture.
Wow,
Because
that's cool.
developers never make mistakes.
Absolutely not.
As a former developer, I have yet to make one. I made one once, but it was because I thought I
It
was
was on purpose,
wrong.
Right. Yeah.
I thought I was wrong, but I was right.
I was
Yeah.
seeing AM debugging something at that point, right, in the morning.
Yeah, that's. I'm pretty sure I've made some SRE enemies in the past. But anyway, moving on.
That's a great example because you might push a CloudFormation change. As
Yeah.
an example, you can see that enrichment data here correlating the different metrics. And then sometimes the simple fix could be, let's just roll back this deployment. And it's right there and you know what to do.
That's great. And I mean, look, we mentioned microservices. Cloud in general, we're pushing towards more complex deployments, right? More moving parts, more things to monitor, more things to get insights into, and it's kind of difficult sometimes to bring it all together into one picture or put it into a certain context. So to have it done for me, like that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
100%. And you can see right here the particular Lambda resource that is in question, and convenient link to that resource if you'd like to dive in on the Lambda console. And in this case, the recommendation is suggesting that you adjust this provision concurrency to be able to improve your customer's experience.
Excellent. So I think there are a lot of insights and metrics. So if I'm a serverless developer, what are the metrics I should care about? Can you just touch base on that?
For sure. Yeah, in the case of Lambda, when you spin up a Lambda function, you're going to have what are called out-of-the-box default metrics from CloudWatch, called CloudWatch vended metrics. And so these could include things like number of invocations, errors, latency that you're experiencing. So these are the types of metrics that the AIOps solution is ingesting to be able to bring about this type of information.
Yeah, and that's one of my preferred parts of building serverless apps too, is that a lot of that's built in. Like
Yes.
I didn't have to go set up that metrics collection methodology, unlike some other deployment methodologies. But yeah, that's built in. AIOps is already pulling that in. What do I have to do to make that happen? Anything?
No, as far as enabling the service,
Yeah.
it's easy within a couple of clicks in the console, and you're
Okay.
ready to go. Jonathan, you
Cool.
want to pull up the other use case?
Yeah,
and
I
see
think
how
that might be
DevOps
neat.
Guru can actually proactively save you money?
Oh,
Yes.
wait.
Oh, wow.
Saving money.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, we've been talking about this high availability and reducing mean time to resolution. That's great, but how about saving some money?
Okay, all right.
I think it's important to point out that the example that he's going to show here is only going to show a couple of dollars worth of savings, but think of it from a larger scale where you had more tables or more actual usage across your environment and like in the form of thousands of dollars, it would be much more beneficial.
Right on. And in this case, we have a DynamoDB serverless rather than our Lambda compute serverless, and it's indicating that the writes are underutilized. So you have provisioned this additional DynamoDB write capacity, and it looks like DevOps Guru is picking up that you're not really using it too much. So here we see a sustained usage of only one, and it's proactively letting you know, hey, you might want to consider changing this because you have this extra capacity that you're not using.
Are you telling me that people don't want to pay for things they're not using? Can't believe that. But yeah,
Wouldn't
no,
believe
that's
it,
amazing.
right?
Yeah, and again, you didn't have to do anything, right? You didn't have to
Yeah.
set anything up. You didn't have to like put in what is my preferred capacity or anything like that. It's just automatically detecting based off of your application's usage as it runs, right?
It's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and we'll scroll down and take a look at how this recommendation looks. We see, similar to the Lambda, we have our DynamoDB resource link right here conveniently on the Insight page. And you see the actual recommendation as well as why DevOps Guru is making this recommendation.
Excellent. So there are a lot of things here, right? So for anyone to get started, right? So would you like to share a few insights about,
Sure.
what should be the place that one should go to
Yes.
learn more about this? And
I'd love to do
Yeah.
that. But before I do, I want to call out, this is providing you with recommendations. So the next step is for you to have this single pane of glass and say, you know what, this actually looks like it makes sense. I would like to save some money. So we can actually click on this resource link, and it's going to take us right to the DynamoDB table in question. And from the top here, we have the actions drop down, and we can actually click edit capacity. And we can actually see these dollar amounts as we scroll down. Right now, I mean, as David mentioned, this is a simple example to demonstrate the capability, but imagine this at scale. Imagine thousands of DynamoDB tables, and you say, oh, a few bucks, but when you multiply that at scale, that can really
it will be a significant amount, yeah.
100%. So in this case, you're seeing a sustained 1, so I think we'll probably be all right with 2. When we make that change, you can see that cut the cost in half. So not only do you have the recommendation, but you have this kind of nice visual of how impactful is this cost savings.
Yeah. So I think this is also helpful for cost optimization, and you don't have to do anything, but it will fetch you the insights about your application and share the recommendation, and then you just go there and just validate that and make those changes as per the recommendation, right? Yeah. Pretty cool. Yeah. So
Awesome.
what are the resources that we have for our developers to get started with this? So would you like to share a few?
Yeah, so we have the solution enabled on this region. So let's hop over to Singapore.
And you mentioned a few clicks here, right, to turn it on.
These clicks don't count. So one, he's switching over to this other region. The reason he's doing that is because he had it enabled in the other region. So now he can actually go in and you'll be displayed the getting started page, which he has now. And this is where those couple of clicks come into play.
There we go.
For sure. So if you are a brand new user of this solution, this is what you would see. You get to the landing page, and you're going to see on the right here a nice Getting Started button. So we'll click on that. And you'll see at the top, it's kind of giving you an overview of some of what we've already touched on today. But it's important to call out the analysis coverage. So you have flexibility in how your AI ops for serverless solutions monitoring what resources. So for instance, you see here by default, we have all resources in the account being monitored. But perhaps you're a CloudFormation user today, and you'd like to have your CloudFormation stacks, which are already aggregating your application, to be monitored instead. So we can do choose later and specify a CloudFormation stack or multiple stacks. In addition, if perhaps you're not using CloudFormation today, you could also leverage AWS tags. So you could aggregate your applications that way and only monitor specific application boundaries via tags.
Nice.
So is it only in UI that one can do, or we also have CLI to enable this? So you just mentioned this in the UI, right?
For sure.
So can we do
Yeah,
this
ultimately,
through CLI?
you got API calls on the back
okay.
end here, so you have flexibility in how you manipulate this, 100%. And we want to also point out, we're meeting developers and operations people where they are. This solution is not intended to be monitored 24/7. It's not your dashboard that's on the big screen in your room being monitored all the time, but rather when it assesses this noise and brings about the critical issues, surfacing those critical issues, it's letting you know that information when you need it.
I feel like this is a partner in the conversation you have as a team around what do we focus on? Like, how do we improve what's already happening in our application? We're getting all, like we said earlier, all these observability metrics, all these pieces of data that we could action on, but this is just another data point pointing us in the right direction in making some pretty significant cost savings and optimizations that will improve time to response, like we mentioned earlier. And
And I think the biggest thing is you really don't know unless you're going out and setting up those key metrics on all those services, they're actually having an operation issue. This is
Right.
handling all
Yeah.
that for you automatically, and you're not having to waste that manual labor.
That's right.
It's just simply enabling it and sitting back and just waiting for that information to come in.
That's right.
Excellent. So I think we are almost on time. So would you like to share, last few seconds to share, where to go to learn more about it? I heard that you mentioned earlier that we have some workshops around which our developers can go.
Yeah, so we have a workshop coming up on May 10th. Please use the link in the chat to register. It's going to be a demo as well as an interactive use case where you can actually get your hands on with the service. So please go out and register, and we look forward to seeing you there.
Thank you so much, Jonathan and David.
Thanks for
It
having
was-
us.
Yeah,
That was
thank you.
awesome.
This is awesome.
It was great to have you, and I'm sure that our customers would love this. So thanks for joining us. We will be right back in a moment with another session on training and certification, where we will be talking about AWS Powerhouse for SysOps. Stay tuned.